What is up, guys? Today I'm going to be reviewing the LTC Nimbleback keyboard. Ooh, look at that. I switched cameras. I have two cameras now. I am so fancy. My production quality has skyrocketed. Anyways, this keyboard, I picked it up for around $35 to $40. I got a deal because I had a honey deal code, discount code, so it was a little cheaper. And I think it is a great deal for this price point. That's kind of the preview of the verdict. Now, it has gone up to around $50 to $60, which I don't think really will change that much of making it that much of a deal. I think it's still great at that price point, but at $35 to $40, this thing is an absolute steal. So, disclaimers, first of all, this will not look like this when you purchase the keyboard. This is not how it's going to look. I put a different keycap set on it. Additionally, I'm going to do a sound test of it. That's not how it will sound because I did make a couple mods. I did switch out the switches, I did clip and lube the stabilizers, and I did put a foam mod. However, I will include a stock sound test if I can figure out how to attach the video, because I'm garbage at editing, so you can hear how it sounds. Worst case scenario, I just post the stock sound test separately, and you can hear how it sounds. Anyways, I think it sounds great once you've made a couple modifications for it. Keep in mind, most of these mods are pretty simple. I didn't even use expensive switches. I used some fake Holy Pandas that I bought for $35. Anyways, now I am digressing. So let's get straight into the review of the keyboard. So the first feature that you're going to notice is the layout, obviously. This is a 65% keyboard, which is, in my opinion, the superior layout option. This is a 60% keyboard, which is, of course, small. Once again, kind of a small form factor, but you'll notice it's missing any dedicated arrow keys and no any sort of function keys, anything like that. I think the added convenience of dedicated arrow keys and a couple function keys that you can bind to some macros or something like that is incredibly, and it just puts it a couple levels up above the 60% form factor. I love the 60% form factor. It's small, it's compact, it looks cool. Prefer the 65%. Now, there is a caveat to this form factor, and that is that you will need a different sized shift than what is standard. Now, for me, I had absolutely no problem finding finding the right sized shift. There's several sets, like just even off Amazon, that have the right shift size, but that is something you will need a specialty sized shift bar, or not bar, shift keycap on the right side. Other than that, everything else is exactly the same. Now, the other big feature is that I'm going to unplug this so I don't accidentally, turn something off. You know what? Actually, never mind. You can just take my word for this. There is 5-pin hot swap underneath these. You can just literally take the keycap off, take the switch out, boom, put whatever switch you want in there. You can find, any switch you want. Holy Pandas, creams, tangerines, banana splits, whatever switch you want. I mean, of course, there's a lot bigger than that, but those are the popular switches. So you can put whatever switches you want in here, which is such a huge deal as far as keyboards go. Unless you want to learn how to solder, which isn't actually that hard, but it's mostly the convenience. It takes a bit of time. So hot swap ability is something you really want, especially if you're new to keyboards and don't really trust yourself to solder or anything like that. I think this is a wonderful pickup just for the hot swap ability alone. A lot of keyboards at this price point do not have any sort of hot swap ability, or they're hot swap with like opticals, which is not the same. You're limited to the Gatoron optical line. So to me, hot swap is one thing that just puts this at a very, very good spot for its price point. Now, the other thing are the features that are unique to this keyboard. First of all, one being that there is a USB pass-through right here, which is what I am using for my mouse, actually. It's just honestly just a great convenience to me, because I can put my mouse dongle there and not have to use up a slot on my PC. You can put whatever you want right there. You could charge your phone off of this USB pass-through. I think it's just such a great added convenience at this price point that doesn't even need to be there. It's just something that's a bonus. Of course, there's also flip out feet. I don't use the flip out feet because I'm fine with the typing angle as is, but that's another feature there. Additionally, this right here is wait, hold up. I don't know if it's too bright to see there. This cutout right here is for a USB dongle, because I have seen online a wireless version of this keyboard in some videos from China, but I do not know where I can pick up the wireless version. But if there's a wireless version, that's the only thing this keyboard needs to be, like a pretty supreme budget pickup as is. So it's already, hot swap ability, USB pass-through, flip out feet, it's just really convenient as is. Now, the last thing is something that's mostly cosmetic that I think is pretty cool. Hold on, there we go. You can remove this little top plating right here to give it a completely different look, to give it a floating switch design. So let me switch over to my other camera angle. Actually, I should probably plug this back in, otherwise I can't use my mouse, right? There we go. Over here, and you'll see a floating switch design. You get to see the switches. Now, for me, this looks a little bit more, like gamery, less kind of, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but to me, it looks, just not as clean as having the switches hidden behind the top plate. But that is something you can do if you want a more gamery look, or if you have, like putting keycaps and some sort of clear switch underneath to shine out all the RGB. I think that's another thing that's pretty cool that you can change. It's got built-in macro support. It does have its own software, which is usable. It's not bad, and it has several RGB settings. Let's see if I can switch over to here and show you some of the RGB settings. Let's switch over here. There we go. So, built into the keyboard, I do not remember the inputs for them, but they're in the instruction manual. But it's all the same RGB effects. So we do have a single on effect, which will, if I press a button on the keyboard, I don't want to do that because it'll screw up my OBS. It'll light it up. Single off right here, right? Random color. It has random colors. It's kind of hard to see because most of them are kind of whitish, as is. A glittering effect, similar kind of whitish pastel colors, falling. Once again, whitish pastel colors. The colorful, a lot more bright, kind of rainbow color, pretty nice. Breathing, you know what breathing looks like. This is a spectrum, just a straight color changing. Outward scrolling with the full RGB, which I think looks really cool sometimes, even though I never use it. Scrolling, once again, full RGB. Rolling, all of the speeds and brightnesses are adjustable from the software as well. Rotating, exploding, let's see if I press, launch, similar. Ripples, flowing, where it just kind of flows down colors. Pulsating, let me set this to RGB, pulsating colors. Tilt. And then the last effect is shuttle. Let me switch this back to RGB. There's the shuttle. And then, of course, turning off the backlight. So, of course, I leave it on a static purple because that's what I set most of my keyboards to. Now, what is notable is that you cannot customize each individual key's lighting. You can only have a static singular color. So that might be a problem for some people because I prefer to, set like my WASD to blue or something like that for a contrast. But overall, the software is pretty good. You can put macros, change your color settings, all of that. That's essentially it for the features. It's a keyboard. I mean, there's only so many features that you can have. But I think the convenience of having that USB pass-through in the back, being able to take off the top plate for a whole new look of your keyboard, and of course, 5-pin hot swap at this price point, make it an incredible pickup for when it was at $35-40. I still think it's a great pickup at $50-60 because stuff like the RK61 has none of these features and is exactly the same price. So to me, this is a great pickup. Of course, the last step is to give you guys a brief sound test. So here's a little sound test. This is with, of course, modded. I have clipped and lubed the stabs. I have changed out the switches for Faker Panda switches. And I have foam modded the keyboard, so it will sound different. I will include at the end the stock sound test, and of course it'll sound really different because it's clicky blue switches. But I'm just going to show what you can do with this keyboard for a really cheap amount of money. Altogether, keyboard included, this is $126. Switches and keycaps along with the actual keyboard. Now, if you just didn't get extra keycaps, you could do even cheaper because it's $35 and $30. So it's actually, wait, I think I'm overestimating my price now. Actually, now that I think about it, this is only it's like 30. This is like $90. Because before I did have Holy Pandas in here that were a lot more expensive. So this is altogether only around $90, and it's gonna it sounds to me pretty incredible. So here's a brief sound test. This is stock raw audio. So there might be some microphone noise. But anyways, here we go. Let's go do a sound test real quick with these blue switches. completely unedited audio, so I'm sorry for any microphone noise, but here we go. That's my verdict for this keyboard. I say that this is a great pickup for its price point. Do get this keyboard if you can, especially if it's cheaper again. You can do quite a bit with it, especially compared to how it sounds stock. So thank you very much. That's it from me. Peace.